Hey everyone, long time no see, long time no speak. I figured... I'm eliminated now, so let us watch some matches together. Let's see. Last weekend was a little wild, and I wouldn't have been able to play on the second day anyway. So was not too fussed or upset about the results, to be perfectly honest. Actually, I'm not going to be around to stream tomorrow either. Although tomorrow oh, actually no, things are going to be wild for the next few weeks. I was going to say tomorrow is actually the last week of disc, which is why I've been missing Sundays, because I've been throwing a little disc around in the air. But even though tomorrow is the last week of that, next week is Halloween, and then the week after that I'm actually going to be in the UK, so I won't be able to stream in the UK. So this might be it for streams for Season 11, to be perfectly honest. So let's get our money's worth. Let's get our money's worth. I'm going to hop right in. Which mouse is which? The matches don't start for another 4 or 5 minutes, so in that time we can kind of decide what match we want to watch and maybe vaguely predict who we think is going to be winning in each bracket. Actually, I'll go ahead and post the link now in case. I think I'm going to watch Junnie because he's my guild leader, and as you know, I like to follow my guildies. So, it'll be good to let the people know that old Junnie is going to be on TV. Yeah. Now we'll have a couple minutes to go through the bracks. So, starting at the top, Group A. B-Guy versus Valabar, that'll actually be a pretty decent match, I think. Marduk, I see him beating Surge. Hard to say who comes out of that bracket, but I don't think it's going to matter because, to be honest, whoever wins bracket B is going to win that matchup in the top 16. So we'll have Aerinoa versus Pay the Toll here. I think Aerinoa wins that. We'll have Mr. Take It Easy versus Tomato. I think Tomato wins that, and then the winner here will beat Group A. Moving on to Group C, we have Absoul on the left, and Absoul has actually taken 2 forfeits so far in this playoff. So although he did really well in the regular season, we haven't seen any Absoul action so far in the playoffs. That said, I think he will. He's just such a consistent performer. I think he'll be able to win this match. Unster, who actually took out Ichiao in the last round, is going to be facing against Lyman. That could be a good matchup. I think Absol takes this bracket, though. Moving on to Group D, we're going to have Esdao versus whoever this is over here. It's a Luciris Gate account. Esdao is a pretty consistent performer as well, so I think he probably wins there. Roaring versus Jaden Nelson here. Not entirely sure who's going to take that bracket, but again, this is another situation like the first two, where I think Absol will beat whoever comes out of bracket D. So we've got Group E, we've got Whir versus Luthia. I think Whir is going to win that. We've got Junnie versus Lukcid. That's the match we're going to watch here today, assuming Junnie wakes up in time for it. Going to be rooting for my guild leader, but the seasoned professional analyst, I think Lukcid is a really difficult opponent, and Junnie's going to have an uphill battle there, so I actually think Lukcid beats Whir to take this group. Next up, we've got Wooper versus Trinhuv. Tough match. I think Trinhuv probably wins. Jagger versus Arteon Sparks. That's another interesting main chord match. That could be an interesting one to watch. Maybe we'll check that one out depending on how fast the Junnie Lukcid match goes. But I think Trinhuv is probably a strong pick to win this group as well. Trinhuv versus Lukcid, that would be a tough game, but I think Lukcid probably wins that. On to Group G, we have Loomis versus Sicarus. Sicarus did really well in Summit der Langrisser last season. I remember casting at least one of his games. So he's upped his game here this season, and Loomis has tended to not get super far in the playoffs for the past few seasons, usually because of stuff going on in real life. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here as well. If Loomis manages to put in a strong performance, I think he can win that. Edgar Allan Bro versus Autorun. Autorun, always a super strong opponent, a previous champion. I think Autorun wins that match and probably also wins this bracket. Okay, we will leave the analysis for the rest, I guess, until after the matches, so we will have a little bit more food for predictions since we'll know who wins this round. Don't want to miss any of the actual match, since that's what we're all actually here for. So let's jump into Junnie's match and see what this pick and ban is going to look like. I guess there's still technically a few minutes while we wait for the players to actually show up, but that gives us time to examine these boxes. So it looks like Junnie is going to be playing a relatively tank-pushy box, which makes sense. He's got this super powerful defensively built Oboro. He's got his 3 healers here in Rosen, Liana, and Sissy. He's got his tanks in Hilda and Christiane. He's also got Autocrato, who is an annoying addition to a tank push box. He can make your whole team a little bit bulkier, a little bit annoying to crack into. Of course, Lucretia. He's got IBC. Everything else pretty standard here. I guess Azusa and Helena are the kind of flex picks, but they're pretty meta as well. So nothing too surprising here. Lukcid is a player, on the other hand, who really has the ability to play any kind of box. So we're going to probably see some side box shenanigans for Game 2, potentially, depending on how Lukcid and Junnie like this matchup for the first game. But for this match, it looks like Lukcid is going with something pretty close to what we saw a lot of during the regular season. So we still just have the 1 tank in Hilda, with potential to bring a little summonable tank from Sissy here as well. Everything else very standard. He does have an Oboro, which is a potential tank push cracker. He may have known that Junnie was going to lean that way. So Junnie's going to have to worry about the Oboro or the Werner on Lukcid's side. And Lukcid also has this Emperor Lavina, which is interesting. We've seen some players using Lavina throughout the season, but his unique equipment just came out with this update, so it's possible that people have been slowly building him in the background, and we may see more of him now that he's kind of finished, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to see what Lukcid can do with him against this kind of composition. Now, it says we're still waiting for players to enter. I wonder if that's going to be Lukcid or Junnie. I better tag Junnie just to make sure. He's awake. Oh, maybe this means he signed in now. So we have this match start countdown. Good. Maybe I shouldn't reveal this on stream, but I just looked at my guild chat. Junnie is in there. He said, oh wait, I can't adjust my box because the game started. Oh shit. Maybe he had planned to change his box going into this match, but it's too late for that now. Sorry, Junnie. Alright, we're going to get Discord out of here so I can focus on the chat. Yeah, that said, Greenwinkle, at least Junnie has a solid box, like I was saying in the intro when I first opened this match up. Like, it's not like this is an incoherent box. The only thing he kind of has to worry about is if they're all equipped, but just because he can't change his box doesn't mean he can't go back and equip his units up. So we've got 10 seconds, and then we're going to have the map rolled, and we'll see the beginnings of pick and ban here. Okay. Lukcid also a previous champion, so Junnie, again, uphill battle ahead of him. On the sky map, not too bad of a map for either player. Or for either style, I guess. Junnie as player 1. Okay, so banning out the Waitham makes sense. He has a little bit of an advantage on this map because he can fly, which means that one of the primary obstacles on this map, which is these big sky gaps, doesn't necessarily apply to him, so he can have a little bit of maneuverability around the rest of your team. It also opens up space for the rest of your team to move as well. Epsilon can technically fly as well, if he's bringing gargoyles, so he has typical Epsilon levels of threat here. This map can be an annoying one when you're playing against an Oboro player, because he can kind of tuck himself away and wall the back area off to make it more difficult to get at him, if your game plan is to ride Oboro to victory, or if your opponent's game plan revolves around getting your Oboro off the table. So Junnie securing a tank right away. And Lukcid does not want to face a tank push team with Rosenseal as well. Welcome to the chat, Alax. So Lukcid is going with that first pick Werner, likely anticipating that Oboro is going to be coming out at some point here. Werner is one of the capable Oboro slayers. So he is one of the best weapons against a full tank push or full turtle team. Lukcid just ensuring that he has that weapon up his sleeve. Okay, Junnie securing his healer now. This is a pretty standard tank push style pick and ban. Making sure you have your tank, making sure you have your healer, and then he'll just pull out whatever he can during the later few rounds of this pick and ban. This is the round, now that the Waitham and the healer and the Lucretia are banned, this is kind of the round where Lukcid can really start narrowing down Junnie's DPS threats. Okay, so he does get rid of that really annoying Autocrato, so that softens up the rest of Junnie's team a little bit, and he gets rid of the Oboro, rather not deal with him. Picks his own Oboro as well, which means he's going to have a couple anti-tank push weapons. So Junnie going to have to figure out what his best ways to crack into Lukcid's team might be. Yeah, I agree. There are going to be some interesting games in this round. That's why initially I couldn't really decide which game I wanted to cover. Then I remembered Junnie has a really strong opponent here, so I thought that would be a good one. We could catch some replays after this match, though. Okay, so Junnie is going to get his Epsilon, definitely a strong DPS option, a strong assassin. IBC also a pretty good pick for Junnie because it does just give his team a little bit of extra flexibility, a little bit of extra bulk if needed. Cucumber, welcome to the chat. Some of us are doing well. I can speak for me and one Doberman. Everyone else is going to have to answer for themselves. Okay, so that Watham finally off the table for Lukcid. Lukcid still has access to a few dangerous DPS units here as well. He takes Junnie's remaining DPS off the table totally, so Junnie's going to have to either go with a second tank or a second healer, which means Epsilon and Azusa are the only things Nevercid really has to worry about actually killing right away, you know? Nevercid actually is going to go with a tank, so that lets him slow the match down a little bit, maybe match Junnie's slow pace here, and allows him to build his Oboro up while keeping the rest of his team decently safe. And he still has a couple good units for his last pick as well. What do we got here? Papa Mage, welcome to the stream, Papa Mage, supporting Junnie. Wow, we got a lot of Junnie supporters in the chat here. One doggo, the other... Oh yeah, all the doggos are okay. They just happily had their supper, but only one of them decided to follow me down to the studio. The other one is upstairs with Mrs. Kong, presumably where she thinks she can weasel some more food out of someone. Okay, so this is interesting. I really want to see what Lukcid does with this Emperor Lavina. So both sides are going to be making sure they have the right skills, making sure they have the right soldiers. Maybe they've been moving things around because of the Ragnarok of the Realms. Hopefully they've made sure all of their units are geared up properly. And we'll also see what their opening positions are going to look like. So this is a little bit of a reversey changey for Junnie here. He's going to be up against a tank, healer, and Oboro team. So Junnie's game plan with limited DPS is probably going to be to avoid an initial opening onslaught from this Werner. He does have to get in and crack that Oboro somehow. Maybe he can do that by getting through this Hilda. I'm not sure how Lukcid's Oboro is built. Presumably it's built well, but I'm not sure if it's like an attack Oboro or a super defensive Oboro. So maybe the Epsilon can kill it, but the Epsilon also has to get in safely. This is an AoE unit as well, so the Epsilon can't exactly sneak in. So I think I give Lukcid the edge on this pick ban. We'll see how things shake down once we're actually on the field here. So we do have the gargoyles on this Epsilon. Looks like he brought hide anyway, just in case it ends up being needed. Everything else pretty standard here. Inspire instead of dismiss. Rice Crew, welcome to the chat. So we do have faction buff here. What about you, Sissy? Inspire as well. That makes sense since you're the only healer on this side. Warfare Tactics is an interesting one on this map because I don't think there is any defensive terrain that he can get on. Might have gone with Sneak Attack instead. Yeah, I haven't really had an opportunity to stream in a while after all those Ancient Beckoning high score runs. I didn't stream my own playoff match. But now the playoffs are back in force. Actually, I was saying at the start of the stream, I might not actually be able to stream much of these playoffs just because most weekends for the next few weeks I'm going to be away from the studio. So maybe when I come back, stream some replays, or maybe by then it'll be regular Season 12 and I can just stream some regular season stuff. Right, so we're getting bounty on this Werner, potentially making it easier for one of Junnie's units to take it out. Potentially. Going to be going to London. Not next weekend, but the weekend after that. Next weekend is just Halloween stuff. So I gotta go out and get me some candy. Can Oboro hit full stacks from that placement? Yes. Partly because we have an act again here. Well, fully because we have an act again here. No good reason not to use the act again on your Oboro. Speed up that transformation, get him into the action a little bit more quickly. Okay, Lavina buffing himself. That just makes sure that his sword effects are active. Pretty good faction buff effect as well. There's always an allied Emperor Lavina within 3 blocks of Emperor Lavina. So he gets plus 17% damage dealt when entering combat. Big AoE as well. Nice. So yeah, Junnie, I mean, the Azusa is really only hitting Hilda. So this Epsilon is going to have to do some heavy lifting on Lavina, Werner, and Oboro. I guess ideally for Junnie, he's thinking he's maybe going to be able to get rid of that Hilda by the time Epsilon's doing all that work and Azusa can chip in and start killing DPS as well. But, of course, Lukcid's not just going to sit there and let him kill all his units either. Okay. Still gonna have some jockeying for position in the middle here for the next turn or so. I don't think Lukcid is going to be really in a rush to get out there. Now, Epsilon can reach this Oboro, but of course he has no stacks, and Oboro also won't take a crit because of Hilda's aura here. So that won't do anything. If anything, Lukcid would love for Junnie to try that, but it's definitely not happening. Yeah, Oboro, not his first choice of target. I think Junnie's probably going to want to kill that Werner first if possible. Just because if he's off the table, Junnie has a couple of turns that he can be safe beside his tank before the Oboro transforms. Once the Oboro transforms, it's a different story entirely. We're only 40 subscribers away from 4,000. That's pretty good. Maybe 4,000 before the end of the year, and then we can start 2023 on a nice fresh foot. My next real milestone for a Summon Fest. I like to have big parties when I hit big milestones. The next milestone is not 4,000, unfortunately. It's 5,000, and that's when I'm giving away my little Strategy Squad Lana figurine. So whoever's around then, when I hit 5,000, we'll have some kind of a contest on the channel. And, yeah, someone can I'll just send it to you. Little Lana figurine. I've showed the picture of it before on past streams or videos. And of course we'll have another Summon Fest at the same time as well. Greenwinkle the Button Clicker! Thanks for the sub. Mage the Red, thanks for the follow as well. Yep, Summon Fest is always kind of a double-edged sword because it's fun and usually funny, but it also involves me summoning. I have to pull, the rule for Summon Fest is I have to pull one SSR from every active banner. So depending on what banners are up at the time, I don't control when I hit 5,000 subs. It could be a good set of banners. It's always funny when I get to the regular hero summon banner because I do force myself to pull an SSR off those as well. And the first one, of course, I pulled Gerald and Layla from it. It's pretty entertaining, though. You just don't know what's going to pop out. The Transcender release banner was actually, yeah, you're right, that was a good one because it actually coincided with some good luck as well. All I wanted was Transcenders, and I sure got Transcenders. Okay, Lukcid actually gonna fall back here. He was debating that move for a bit. He didn't know if he wanted to inch out a little bit more, or if he thought it was too risky. This is going to give Junnie basically the doorway into the mid. So this is a different kind of threat for Lukcid. Rather than attacking his units, he's going to put a little bit of time pressure on Lukcid here. He won't have as much room to move around. Not this turn, but next turn, Junnie will have a little bit more positioning to maybe figure out something to do with this Epsilon. Still no stacks. Sissy's a good way to at least get a free stack. He didn't bring Sky Archer. I mean, that would be a little bit meme-worthy to just pop summon after summon and dump them into the fog just for Epsilon. Although, meme or no, against this team, Epsilon's going to need stacks, so we'll see what happens. Oh, we're not even getting the act again on the Oboro. We're getting the act again on this Werner. A very interesting deterrent to Junnie moving the rest of his team up. If he moves up, he's going to be in assassination range. And actually, Lavina can potentially move the Werner and the Oboro forward. So if Junnie commits, you know, and keeps his Epsilon back here somewhere, it's still under threat. I'm actually not 100% sure about that, Greenwinkle, whether he can be deployed or not. I know he can be teleported, right? Tksh can teleport him, so I think it acts the same way. I have never used Emperor Lavina, but I'm sharding him up right now. He's one of the units that I'm working on in the background. So I did buy his gear. It's not well enchanted yet. Maybe in Season 12, I'll have him ready, I'll have him built. Try playing around with him a little bit. Maybe try a little bit more AoE in my box. Not like he only works for AoE, as we're seeing here. He's just a good kind of generalist character. Okay, Junnie feeling pressured by this move. Comes in and takes that first life off the Hilda. Definitely an aggressive move from Junnie here. Now, Azusa's difficult to get rid of in one go. A little bit of body blocking happening here as well. Lukcid could combo her down, so she's not in guard range. If he wanted to, he could combo her down with these two units. The anti-crit aura is not available right now. Unable to guard as well. Okay, what do you do with that, Epsilon? Really liking this this pace from Junnie here. Alright, so first attack intended to take the shield off Azusa, so she's easy pickings here now for whatever Lukcid wants to follow up with. But the question is, what is Junnie going to get out of it? Okay, so that answers the question about whether he can be deployed. He can. But he was deployed backwards rather than forwards. Lukcid's primary concern now is keeping him alive. He'll worry about his transformation stacks later. Yeah, if they all played our units, I mean, I want to learn guitar. I have experience with playing all our units, and it definitely does make things more difficult, so, you know, you might have a point there. Junnie's backup time getting dangerously low. He's trying to think. Okay. So Lavina has committed his action. That means he's not going to pop Epsilon out of stealth here. Gives him a little bit more breathing room to approach on the next turn. It does mean Lukcid's only option really is going to be to take this Azusa, finish off what he started. Okay, so she's down. That's going to give Epsilon a stack and a shield. And now Junnie, with turn priority, gets to decide how quickly he wants to take off with this Epsilon. The Lavina's already hurt. She's not even guarding. She has no anti-crit aura, so he's an easy kill. He's easy pickings. This Werner still has his double-bladed strike, and he's in attack stance currently. Okay, so with the rout, we've got a stunned Lavina, which means, again, we don't have to worry about that AoE popping the shield off. Hilda reestablishing her guard. Lukcid now has a little bit of a quandary. He's got to get rid of this Epsilon. Now, it's easy to see him in the back lines here and think that Junnie has him on his heels, but we do have to remember that Lukcid has his full team. He's down a life on her, Lavina's stunned, but Azusa's dead. Yeah, Guitar, I hope you have great luck on that Gintama banner. Oh yeah, nice. That's a dispellable stun, because it was just from rout. So Lavina back on the table. I wonder... He's outside of Hilda's aura range as well. And he's obviously outside of guard. So I wonder if we're going to see an AoE explosion to pop him out of his shield, and then follow up from the Werner. Oh, Junnie knows. Interesting. Yeah, he figured his Epsilon was toast there. And without your Epsilon, your Azus is already dead. He had no way to continue to beat on Lukcid. Now, let's see if we have some sidebox changes, especially after seeing from the Discord that Junnie didn't have his box set up the way he wanted it to. He may bring someone in from the sidebox to give his box a little bit of a different tilt. Nothing super special about this map, so yeah, Lukcid, if Lukcid makes any substitutions, that'll be based purely on strategy. Okay. Game 1 was a fairly interesting one. A good display of patience from Lukcid, knowing he had to take out those DPS. And basically just sitting back and letting it happen. Link main looking for Ironblood Commander action. Well, it's certainly not out of the question. Okay, Junnie is going to make some significant changes, bringing up Werner, Lostum, Archon, and Alicia, so a bunch more DPS. Who did he drop? Yeah, he dropped his Christian, both healers. Wow, interesting. So Junnie switching to a little bit more of a rush or trade box. Bans the Hilda, which you kind of need to do. And there's your first pick IBC. Lukcid, for his part, just got rid of the Oboro and brought up another kind of instant DPS in normal Ares. So we've got both Ares in the box here. Interesting that Lukcid figured he wasn't going to need that slow Boro against round 2 Junnie. Okay, so Lukcid, with his tank banned, he is basically going to be going for a trade game as well. Gets out that first pick Watham. Junnie banning his assassins. Let's see what the rest of Junnie's game plan is going to look like. Oh, interesting second pick Autocrato. Not sure how I feel about that. He doesn't really have tons of killing potential on his own. So he's usually kind of a utility pick. A second pick Autocrato when you have a bunch of DPS available. That's an interesting pick. I want to see what... Okay, so he's going with it as a tank support. He basically just did a kind of backwards tank push pick ban here, where he got his IBC support, his kind of bulk support, and then his tank. He could run into a similar problem that he did last game, though, where he is low on DPS. He still has options here, but he'll only have 2 true DPS. Against, assuming Lukcid is going to be running a straight-up trade team, you're looking at 2 DPS versus 5. So it may be difficult for Junnie to keep up with the pressure. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Yeah, I like to ban Autocrato just because I've had many matches against comps similar to Junnie's here where he just makes it annoyingly difficult for me to crack in and get a kill. So, especially if you've got... Now we've got Heimdall in the mix where everyone is so much more bulky. Alright, we're gonna get Lavina again, so back-to-back games with Emperor Lavina. Very interesting. Well, those 2,000 burgers are going to come in handy once you hop back in and summon your Gintama characters. Okay, so Junnie actually does go with a healer. He's definitely going to be picking... Well, I mean... He doesn't necessarily need Oboro. Maybe he thinks this box can protect that Oboro. Yeah, he has a strong Oboro. He has a really strong... He has good rolls on his Oboro. Lukcid just has, like, 5 units who can all come in and potentially kill that. So Junnie's entire game plan is going to be group up around this, or basically create a wall to keep this Oboro alive as quickly as possible. So the question for Junnie then becomes, is it possible for him to 5v1 with this? Is Lukcid going to have enough time to take out some of Junnie's other units so that the Oboro finally transforms and doesn't have enough support? Now, obviously, Oboro doesn't have to get all the way to 4 stacks against this team. There's no tank, so he doesn't need to guard ignore, which means he can jump into the action 1 turn faster. He also has the act again, so he could jump into the action 2 turns faster. But anyone who wanted to see Oboro action or IBC action, this is going to be a good game for it. Yeah, he definitely... I mean, these are all AoE capable characters. May throw the AoE on him. Definitely some AoE here. He's an AoE character anyway. He's an AoE character anyway. And she definitely has lots of AoE splash support. Sissy not really the strongest as a soul healer against AoE anyway. But we'll see. In fact, we'll see in just a moment. No spoilers. So we have a guard skill on the auto as well. He's a backup tank to try to keep this Oboro alive as long as possible. Nothing else too surprising. Obviously an AoE Ares. He did bring the AoE on Watham, and he has 1 AoE, 1 single target on Lucretia. So the Reaper presumably being held in her back pocket for the Oboro kill. Lukcid is not going to be too shy about moving up. Really, the only impediment to him moving up is this Autocrato's 3C, which does have a lot of reach, and Lukcid doesn't have healing. Most of these units have a little bit of healing for themselves. A little bit. Okay, so Ouroboros is already set up on his little tree, happily waiting in his little tree house till he gets called into the action. And then Lukcid begins his approach. So we probably have a couple turns of this. So what do we think? What do we think, chat? How do we feel about Junnie's chances versus Lukcid's chances? Based on this pick and ban, who has the edge? Once I get a couple of opinions, I'll give my own opinion. I don't want to sway your votes. Rice Crew likes Junnie. Mr. Sad wants to see Lukcid win because of the boringness of turtle strats. Wanting him to win, though, and thinking that he will win are two different things. It would probably be madness to send this Ares in right away without follow-up being ready. But with these long leg units, follow-up can be ready pretty quickly, so I'd say after this turn, Lukcid is going to be pretty much ready to bring any unit in that he wants. Link main on the fence. Dr. YOLO thinking Junnie potentially has an edge, assuming he can get enough damage off. Nier calling for that heal block. Yeah, I think I give the edge to Lukcid on this one. I don't really like playing Turtle Box. I don't have a lot of faith in it as a strat. I'm sure some people get a lot of great use out of it. But I think Lukcid just has too many weapons. All Junnie's eggs are in this basket. I don't think it's enough to counter a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 punch that Lukcid has coming. All Lukcid has to do is position well here on this turn, and then he can basically close the gap with every single person on his team. We still have some deployment potential waiting as well, don't forget that. Okay, Autocrato. That was the main thing left that was still kind of zoning Lukcid out for this turn. So Lukcid will now be able to continue positioning without having to worry about that 3C anymore. For another couple turns. The start of turn 2 is going to be very interesting. Did we have any spies in the chat who were following other games? I wonder if any of them were really quick. Yeah, he could. Yeah, he would be in Otto's aura range if he attacks from there. I'd be surprised. He's not going to outright kill that Oboro anyway. This is a thick Oboro. Thickish. One fun thing that we tested about Watham with Spirit Boots and these can't act again tiles is if you use your skill that gives you an act again, like if you use Alhazard from off the tiles and then Spirit Boots onto the tiles, you do get your act again. So he could sword from here, Spirit Boots up to here, and he would get his act again. Yeah, Lavina definitely works as a DPS. Look at this attack. He's a strong man. We've also got plus attack, plus damage dealt on this Watham. Alright, let's see. Let's see what his plan is. Either way, it looks like now he's going to be attacking from... Oh no, he's just using his AoE. Okay, that makes sense. So he heal blocks. Hilda can't guard, Otto can. Yeah, that is... The damage is definitely done from Watham there. That opens up the door for someone else to come in and take a chop at this hurt Oboro. Alright, it's follow-up time. Everyone who wants to see some juicy follow-up, this is the turn. This is juicy follow-up turn. I mean, these two are under guard, physical guard, because of that phalanx. Whoa! Oh, didn't even need the AoE to finish off that IBC. The Scarlet Reaper finished the job. That is some Covenant stats right there on that massively buffed Ares AoE. Nice 2000 attack, bro. Beast. Okay, next punch is going to be the AoE from the other Ares. So Oboro's still, I mean, not in awful shape yet. But this is kind of what we were worried about with Junnie's initial pick and ban, is even if he does manage to weather this assault, Oboro's going to have to do the entire rest of the match. The Hilda and the Auto, both with guard skills, are really only there to take 1 or 2 hits while Oboro is killing stuff. But Junnie has to get to that point first. Okay, sissy time. We are going to heal that Oboro up. Or, I guess not heal up, that's just an act again. Okay, he still has the can't be healed. Alright, now it's Lucretia's turn. If she can reach, she can Reaper this Oboro, potentially killing him right now, and ending the game, to be honest. Easily reaches. Yeah, Oboro goes down. Lucretia also should go down from that post-death explosion, but Lukcid doesn't need her as much as Junnie needed his dragon. So Junnie really just looking at a couple tanks. Oh, he's going to throw in the towel. Yeah. That's the tricky thing about those Oboro-only strats is, you know, as long as your opponent can kill him, you're done. Let's take a look at some other games, shall we? Let's see who's still in it. B-Guy Valabar is still on. Marduk did win his match. Aerinoa and Toll are still on. Tomato did win his match. Let's take a peek at... oh, Toll won a game. Absoul still in, and that's tied 1-1. Ooh, interesting, because I was pretty lionish on Absoul there. Oh, Esdow lost. Wur did win his game. Lukcid, of course, won his game. We were watching that one. Wooper and Trin are still in battle. Trin's up a game. Jagger and Sparks still in. Loomis lost to Sicarus, and Autorun, of course, won that one. Xeno still in against Cuck. Arcadeus still in against NTR Lover. Ooh, and Arcadeus is up a game. That's an interesting one. NTR Lover was a very high-ranked... ladder player. I kind of feel like watching this. Arcadeus is in my guild. NTR is usually pretty strong. We'll come back to Group H if we don't see anything else too wild down here. CXO is still in with C, and C is up a game. CXO was another highly ranked ladder player. In my group, Kazgao and Q are still fighting. Kazgao's up a game. Those are both strong players. Boomerang and Tksh. Tksh is beating Boomerang. Boomer's in my guild as well. So this is the other Pay the Toll account fighting against Tenacious Rope. I wonder, is Tenacious Rope streaming right now? Maybe he's like me and doesn't stream his own matches. SCL is still in against Omtavia. Cecil had to go to a convention this weekend, so Meow Sensei took that one. Zanson won his match. He'll be up against Winston tomorrow. Kenji still in battle against Loganit. He's up a game. Maybari will be against Cramp tomorrow. And Hail Miyoko is still on. Not surprisingly, it seems like that would be a game that would last a long time. So I said I wanted to look at Arcadeus, and then we can also go check Aerinoa's match. So, what do we have here? It looks like NTR Lover is playing a tank push stall type box similar to the one we just saw from Junnie, although he does have Rosenseal and another healer. So a little bit more durability, but his Autocrato is dead. On Arcadeus' side, we do have a Landius as a tank, and 3 healers, and Archon. What an interesting composition. I mean, obviously, the Archon must have been able to take out that auto first. Yeah, the IBC here is going with her defensive stance now, meaning this Chris can't be displaced. So as long as IBC keeps that anti-displacement up on Chris, Arcadeus is not going to be able to run around with this Archon and pull people and then assassinate behind enemy lines. So that means he's pretty much going to have to get through Christian now. And getting through Christian plus 2 healers, even if you have Act Agains, is going to be tricky with Archon as your only DPS. Yeah, as we're witnessing already. So Arcadeus is up a game and does have the kill advantage so far, but I see this one being a fairly tricky one for him to win. Yeah, JB Famine, I'm not sure if that's actually Straw playing. I know that's Xanson's account. Or I have it in my notes as Xanson versus whoever. Xanson versus Fresh Knight, and then the account name changed. So I wasn't sure if that was just Xanson fooling around, or if Straw actually was playing that account, and that was like the big reveal. It's so hard to tell in playoffs who's actually playing each account, especially when you have rename shenanigans going on. But yeah, he did beat Fresh Knight. I had been assuming it was Xanson, and my prediction was that he would beat Fresh Knight. So, Serum, if that's PromiseMeUTurtle is Toll's alt, who's playing Toll's alt? I know he has 2 accounts, but didn't know which one he would be playing. And he drew 2 tough opponents, too. This might be the kind of game where both players try to cluster up in the middle here, but I think NTR has a little bit more killing potential with his IBC than Arcadeus does. As we just witnessed there, he attacked into that guarding Christian, and his Archon got relatively obliterated. With this Rosenseal faction buff as well, he also risks losing his water whenever he attacks. So if it does come down to a battle for the center, well, Arcadeus has to get in there for one, and then he has to outlast this IBC. Oh, now that's interesting, though. NTR was not able to top up the defensive formation on the Christian, so that's going to run out for her this turn, which means as long as this Archon is still alive, he'll be able to pull someone back out of formation. Whether that means he can kill them or not remains to be seen. Yeah, Arcadeus is actually, he's been in my guild for a long time too, even since before my guild merged. And he's always been a strong PvP player, although he's never really kind of made a name for himself in tournaments or playoffs, so it's good to see him go this deep. I'd like to see him win this match too. And once we back out, I'll have to remind myself who he would be playing against tomorrow if he does win. Meanwhilest, try to figure out why my subscriber and follower... Oh, there, they just updated now. Good. Thought you guys deserved a little bit of extra recognition than what my overlay was giving you. Thanks again. Emerald Dragon and Mage the Red. We've got a color-themed follow party going on today. Okay, so here it is, the next attempt from Arcadeus. He is able to pull the Christiane out of the way, because she didn't get the defensive stance from IBC, and now he's going to see who he can kill. He wasn't able to put a dent in Sophia last time. I think IBC has to be his target here. And he's just getting obliterated trying to attack into her as well. So I think that is going to be the end. Unless he can, like, slowly continue doing that to pull NTR out of the center. Yeah, no, he's just crashing into a wall here. Oh man, playing both accounts at the same time would be so stressful. I hope he doesn't have to do that. Yeah, so unfortunately that big Archon Gambit didn't really do too much. Other than the fact that this Rosenseal's just not guarded now. So if he wants to get her under guard, he has to concede a little bit of territory. I think NTR has enough healing that Arcadeus is not going to be able to expose like one unit like this and then really chip away at it, especially since most of his team is healers. So possibly just like spinning NTR's team formation back a little bit and giving him room to get into the middle might be all he can do. Yeah, I think that was the Rosen faction buff dispel. Well, I mean, look, pretty much everything is off him now. Poor old Archon. He had like 1 week in the sun. Soon, Christiana's going to be immune to displacement. We've got all this defensive formation immunity. We've got electric helms. I like him as a unit, too. He's interesting. But he's got, like, one central gimmick, and it's way too easy to counter. And Arcadeus, you're not going to win on damage if you're not in the middle to begin with. So the time is coming. You gotta get in there. All these buffs. So many buffs! You're not putting a dent in any of these units. You've got Rosenseal's healing as well. You've got all that defense from Sophia. You got these defensive formation buffs. It's a question of how quickly Arcadeus realizes this one's over, so let's check out one of the other matches. No reason to watch that one through to the end. Where was that Aerinoa match? Let's check that out. Against one of the Tolls. We're not sure which. We're not sure if Toll's playing this or not. So, let's get a situation here. Toll is up a game already. And he's only down an IBC. He still has 4 DPS units. Aerinoa is down 1 Mariandel. He has a tank, he has a healer, he has an IBC and an assassin. His Epsilon's already fully stacked and shielded, although the shield's about to come down here. So Epsilon's going to take a little splashage. Hugo, that would be hilarious if the damage dealt was low enough on the match that they based the winner on how much healing was done. Yeah, my hope for that other match is that Arcadeus just stays patient. Because he does have to get into the middle. But he does have a kill. He probably has... Well, I don't know if he has a damage lead, because every time Archon was attacking, he was taking more damage than he was dealing. So, presumably the damage from the Autocrato is what was going to float him. But I think that IBC was going to be doing a bunch of damage too. So, as long as Arcadeus just kind of gets the situation, sees what the damage advantage looks like, slowly moves into place... It gets harder and harder to pull people out of the way as the fog closes in too, so I don't know. I don't give him the advantage in that match. We're seeing lots of endurance formations so far today, my friends. Here's another one. Ooh. She's already heal blocked. She has Shadow Rage. She can reach. She can reach whatever. In fact, if Sherry's able to kill that, then she would be in position for her act again as well. She still has it available. He can reach Christiane with 3C. Lostum's just chilling up here. No real rush for Lostum to make an appearance. I wonder if Sherry's going to pull the trigger on that now or not. Well, I guess no matter how far away Lostum is, he's never really too far out of the action. He has both skills up. Yeah, is he gonna guard ignore Pepsi with this little arrow skill? Nope, he's gonna go for the stun. Stun and not quite kill on Chris. Might have been a tricky kill on that Epsilon. Might have been a tricky kill. Okay, Epsilon just taking the safe-ish kill and securing that Helena. Heals back up. Not currently under guard, so the Elwyn is going to be able to come in and spike in with 3C if he wants. The old double tap, 1 life off Christian and Sissy down, although that shields the Epsilon. Might not matter too much if he's going for it with Elwyn, though, because Elwyn can strip that shield. Epsilon doesn't have skills available right now, though. Okay, Florentia body blocking the Epsilon anyway. That was just to pop the shield. Interesting. Not in a rush to get his faction buff back there. Gonna have to do that next turn, though. Faction buff gone. Faction buff gone, IBC gone. See, that's... I would have liked faction buff there because that kill brings his 3C back, but he can't use the 3C here now. Epsilon's gonna have to carry against an Elwyn with a revive. Lost him is booking it for now. He'll be back. He'll book it back. Oh, Breeze too. Nice. A little icing on the cake. I mean, you are shielded and guarded, so you gotta come out in faction buff now. Come out faction buff now, Christian is dead, and then you basically have the Epsilon show after that. Yeah, this is not a great situation. Like, even if he comes out, takes the first life off the Elwyn, he doesn't care, he has his shield up. Then he would have to deal with, like, a triple combo to easily pluck his shield off and kill him. Maybe he can make it work? Based on the fact that one of these kills has to be against his Christian. Okay, so that is that first life down from Elwyn. Lost him just doing his thing, swing around. So this Elwyn can come down here, get healing, kill the tank. Epsilon busting his own shield on that Elwyn. So he's still going to get triple tapped. And there it is. That's game 2 in the books, so Pay the Toll is going to be advancing over Aerinoa. Yeah, the stun is conditional. I don't think Christiane had immunity to it. But she got stunned the first time and not the second time, so maybe it was lost him not having his skill buffed up enough. Absol is struggling here. Okay, so it was 1 game to nothing. Absol came back and won the second game. That one is still going. Kazgao beat Q. Boomerang's game is still going as well. Woo! Who are we more interested in, Absol or Boomer? Boomer might be streaming himself, so let's check out Absol's game. Oh, so it was Feather after all, and it just didn't trip the first time because her accessory was broken. That's hilarious. Okay, so it's 1 game to 1 here. Absol very highly ranked on ladder. Currently down a Tksh and an IBC, so all he has is his healer with a little charmy mage, or tank I mean. He has Lucretia with no golem in sight. And he has his Epsilon, who's pretty deeply committed in here. On the other side, we do have a dead D-Heart and a dead Epsilon. We have a fully transformed, well, not fully transformed, excuse me, but at least transformed Oboro. And another Lost Him and Cherie tag team. Or at least we did. Lost Him is now out of the picture. Ooh, scary, scary. And Absol's Phalanx charges for the Poison Fog to help bring Epsilon's shield back. You'll love to see it. Interesting match. Out with the old Phalanx, in with the new Phalanx. Well, is this Oboro going to be able to get through? He's not guard ignoring, right? Because he only has 3 stacks? Okay, Lucretia down, so it's really up to Absol being able to kill that Oboro with his Epsilon. Epsilon is fully stacked. He is a scary Salon. But he might not want to kill the Oboro first, in case he gets counter-exploded killed, and then Epsilon will be gone, and not able to kill this Cherie. Maybe you kill the Cherie first. Kill the Cherie first, but then you're exposing your Epsilon to Oboro being able to just attack into you. What's the solution? What's the turn order solution to this problem? Oh, she's just gonna get rid of the tank. So Oboro can do what he wants here. Okay, Sissy not killed by that, but is stunned. Huh. I would say now... like, her skills are gone. You kind of have to go for the Oboro here and just hope that your Epsilon survives it. He doesn't. Ouch. 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 So this Sissy just gets to chip away at Sleepy Sissy. Or Cherie chips away at Sleepy Sissy. And that is 2 games for this person. So Absol eliminated in the top 64 after a promising run in ladder. Really good, consistent performance in Summit Der Langrisser as well. Unfortunately, maybe Rust played into that a little bit. He didn't get to play his first round because it was a forfeit. He didn't get to play his second round because it was a forfeit. So first game of the playoffs for Absol in the top 64, and he is gone. Which means it's really kind of up in the air all the way through to the top 16 here. Probably the winner of Group C defeats the winner of Group D in the top 16. Okay, let's go back to the Boomer match then. Since Absol is done, we can catch the end of this match as well. So, again, it's 1 game to 1. Oh, this one's fairly early as well. We're going to get a full match here. This must be like turn 1. Yeah. So, Tksh, on Tksh's team, we have a Leon. We have Elwyn, IBC, Lostum, and Epsilon, so a full team of DPS here. On Boomer's side, similar kind of loadout. We have a couple Horsies, we have an IBC. The difference is we have an Oboro here who's just trying to mind his own business and get transformed. We also have a Kruger, a full AoE Kruger. No 3C. Yeah, this map was recently added, Najin. I'm sure it is, I'm sure percentage-wise it comes up just as much as the others, but it's still a little bit novel. Especially for people who play a lot and really wore the other ones down. One game to 1 between Boomerang and Tksh. Tksh, another Lushiris Gate player. He's actually in Freekong's guild. So, oh, that's a good point. Tksh is in Freekong's guild and Boomer is in Mainkong's guild. So I have kind of one horse on either side of this match. Not sure about this Leon. Yeah, it's funny, it's a classic horse fight. It's not really the best map for Leon or Helena. It's kind of awkward for horses. The Elwyns are fine, because they have the swimming horses. We've got an IBC on both sides as well. So it really comes down to the choice between the Lostum and the Epsilon, so 2 strong assassins, versus this Oboro who can transform whenever he wants, and Kruger. I'm not sure what the AoE Kruger is really going to do, to be perfectly honest. Tksh can pretty much just spread out and not really have to worry about him. I mean, I guess part of the reason he's there is to pop Epsilon's shield and pop his hide, which is fine. Helena can do that too. Oh, we wanted to see how that Arcadeus game ended up as well. Since these guys are just getting set up, let's quickly pop out. See if Arcadeus proved me wrong, and then we'll come back. I forget what group that was in, though. Maybe it was closer to the top. Oh, they're still in it. Oh, but that was because Arcadeus was up 1-0, wasn't he? So NTR won that last match. Okay, and they're right at the start of their second match. Who do we have? Arcadeus with Elwyn. He's got Landius out again. He's got Himiko and Kyra. NTR with a pretty similar loadout that he had before. Oh, actually he has way less healers. But he does have 2 tanks. He has Sophia as his only healer. And a couple of assassins as well. Huh. That'll be an interesting one. Do we want to watch this one, or do we want to go back and watch Boomer instead? I mean, the advantage of the other one is that it's 2 players not using tanks, so the play might be a bit quicker. Alright, I heard a vote for Boomer in the chat. Whoever speaks first gets their wish. Okay, Boomy. Oh, the bots are back. You know what, bots? I'm just going to leave you alone. I'm just going to leave you alone because reporting bots on YouTube and Twitch does nothing. Unfortunately. So, I mean, I'm not going to necessarily promote the best adult dating site, but it's there in the chat if anyone is inclined to make a bot's day. So it looks like Tksh charged his IBC in for a pick on Boomer's IBC while we were away. And he even survived long enough to get the opportunity to try to run back, although you can't really get away. If he wanted to, he can just AoE it. Alright, Rice Crew, your job now is to let us know if anything wild happens in that Arcadeus match. Potentially this one will be done before the Arcadeus, so that we can pop back over there and watch the end of that one once this one's over. We're getting a few games in here, aren't we? Or bits and pieces of a few games, at least. Only one turn left on his IBC buff on Kruger, and he can't get it back, owing to the fact that IBC's obviously dead. But IBC not really a huge impact for his other remaining players. Okay, so he does AoE that dangling IBC down as we expected. It's another stack for his Epsilon, though. Okay, Lostum's gonna swing into action. You can move 2 down here and hit the Bozal, which is exactly what happens. Not the Bozal, the Kruger. Kruger is a Bozal, though. Okay, so he's dead as well. So Boomer down 2 units. Let's see. This Lostum should be able to swing back out to make a trade much more difficult for Boomer as well. Okay, so he swings himself onto terrain. With Chivalry, she can probably reach him. Yep, so she's going for it. This seems reckless to me, because you kind of need her to help you against this Epsilon here. It's definitely a trade, too, because if you kill this Lostum, Elwyn or Epsilon is just killing. Okay, so she's actually not going to commit and stay in for it. She's just splashing tiles. Just splashing tiles to get ready to go in next turn, I guess. There's another game, though, where a player is kind of forced to put all their eggs in Oboro's basket. And I don't know, maybe people have seen in practice or like clips of Oboro 1v4ing the enemy team, but I just have not seen that happen very much in practice. As long as there are a couple of DPS left, it's possible to combo him down. Alright, see, and now there's no Chivalry to pop that shield off this Epsilon. Like, I don't know. What does this give you, shiving like that, and then not doing anything to follow it up? Because if you wanted to get in this turn, you could have kept the Shiv for this turn and used it this turn, instead of, like, pre-popping Chivalry to give yourself more range. Using the Shiv this turn would give you that range as well, but you'd still have it available to you as a flex option against this Epsilon. So I think that was a mistake. Who's your target here, Oboro? Okay, the Dragon Explosion to bring the shield down. That is the other thing you had available. So you do get a Lostum out of it, which is fine. You do bust the shield, but he heals himself back up to 100%, which keeps the hide active. The invisibility still active. Ooh. That was a decent, like, tactical option there, but unfortunately it didn't fully work out. The shield is down, but the hide is still up. So we do still have the dual horse support squad in the back lines for either team, and then kind of the real MVPs already active in the middle here. This is an interesting one because Tksh kind of has to piece out the order that he can safely kill units in. Helena's down. That's going to take him out of his out of his invisibility, rather. Which means that this Elwyn should be able to kill. And then Tksh has to be able to then take out Elwyn's lives and Oboro with his Leon and Elwyn. Okay, so that's Epsilon down. Elwyn hanging back here with his revive, so he still has access to a 3C, he still has his revive. Elwyn v. Elwyn. That's one life off. He's not able to heal. Ooh, sneaky, sneaky. Are you able to move far enough with these Mech Knights? No. I was going to say, if you could get in and splash that Elwyn with AoE. But it does mean this Elwyn's not able to just move around here and fully heal up from attacking. So if he attacks, he's toast. Elwyn v. Elwyn is pretty dirty, because he had his immunity to debuffs from his Reign of Glory, but it got stripped by the other Elwyns. 3C. So Oboro can pretty much reach everything. But he's not going to be able to kill both Elwyn lives. So if this Elwyn just stays down here and just like lightly taps this Elwyn to kill him, next turn Oboro comes down, takes one Elwyn life. Elwyn runs around, heals up, kills this Oboro, but possibly gets counter-killed. So we may see a full 10 dead units here at the end of this match. It depends on what Tksh wants to prioritize. I mean, I guess he could kill... Oh, you can't reach the Oboro though, can you? Yeah, because you've already used your charge. Elwyn, knowing he's dead, decides to go in for the 3C just to get all those buff strips off. It's not the worst thing in the world. It does mean he's going to be able to come in at this Oboro. Not quite kill it, though. So he does have a revive, but he wasn't able to kill the Oboro. No buffs at all. What a messy end of the match. Like these messy ones, though. So this is going to be one kill on Elwyn. Oboro's going to do some healing up. This Elwyn can heal back up from attacking, but he doesn't have 3C, he doesn't have a skill at all, so it's just going to be a regular attack into this Oboro. The 3C didn't kill it. Is the regular attack going to do it? No. Regular attack is not going to do it. That means Oboro can finish it off. Tksh goes down, and that is 2-1 for Boomerang with a really grimy, messy old Oboro finish in Game 2. Or in Game 3. So Boomer moving on. Boomer's going to be moving on to face Kazgao. That's going to be a tougher match. Again, I forget where Arcadeus was. But let's see how he's doing versus NTR. That match we know is still on. That match we know is still on. Okay, so stuff has happened. Arcadeus, Elwyn is dead. His Kyra just popping Epsilon's shield now. NTR, Cherie is dead, but he still has 2 tanks and a healer down here, as well as an Epsilon way up here. Arcadeus very low on backup time. NTR with turn priority. We still have Guard Ignores up on this Kyra. So Epsilon running back, getting his faction buff back up. Theoretically, Hilda, yep, Hilda's anti-crit aura is available as well. So Kyra's not going to be able to just come down and snipe that Epsilon. Without crit, Kyra's killing potential is not best. Okay, NTR establishing position now in the middle of this map. He can play patient. Well, I mean, to be fair, Rice Crew, dispelling fusion powers or dispelling water is pretty much the main thing her faction buff does. So it is a risk that you have to be prepared for. He's got his buff back now, anyway. Alright, I mean, Kyra's gonna go for it regardless of no crit. Doesn't get the kill, obviously. That's just her teleport, so yeah, she's got 3 turns before she can do anything else to that Epsilon. In the next 3 turns, Epsilon's 3C is going to be back. Obviously, Hilda's anti-crit aura is going to be back. There it is right now. And Epsilon's going to likely be healed back up. Hakuo already has a strong position in the middle of this map, so again, kind of like the last map, if Arcadeus wants to get in and have a chance of hanging in here, he needs to either start getting some kills or get into the middle. I don't know, I don't like the looks of it. I don't like the looks of it. Oh yeah, rewind. Epsilon's fully back in action. He only has 2 stacks. But that should be enough to kill Kyra, right? He gets the crit through Landius Aura. That's it for Arcadeus. He has nothing left to contend with this. Even if she clocks her 3C every turn, I don't think that's enough to overcome this bulk and this healing. Hakuo's already ahead on damage as well. He's ahead on map position. I think this one's in the books. Race Crew, with that optimism, we got a 4-stack shielded Epsilon now. We didn't even have that when Arcadeus had a DPS unit. Now Arcadeus has, I mean, his only DPS is Kimiko. He is establishing a little bit of center presence, but that's not going to help him if he's behind in damage, so he also needs to catch up in damage, which when you're up against an Epsilon is very difficult. Epsilon very good at pumping out that damage. LW, welcome to the stream. I hope your stream went well. Which games were you following? I started out with the Junnie match, and then I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between a couple others. We caught the very end of the Aerinoa match. We caught the very end of the Boomerang match. And we caught bits and pieces of this one. But we're back to see the end of Arcadeus here now. I think Boomerang's actually my only guildmate who survived this round. Junnie out. Arcadeus not out yet, but it's not looking good. Cecil forfeited. Oh, Hale was eliminated. Interesting. I'll have to go back and watch the replay of your stream later, LW, because I know that Hale match was another one I kind of wanted to watch afterwards. Okay, that 3C, it was supposed to be Arcadeus' opportunity to do some damage. It only did 2,000 damage, but it may have blocked this Epsilon out in the fog. How did MTR get trapped outside? Okay, he got Sophia in. Intriguing. Okay, so now we're in a strange situation. Remember, I said Epsilon is going to be NTR's source of damage. Oh, what a mean teleport! Popping Himiko's talent, using it against her, teleports her out of center position down to Landius. Oh, just evil. Evil. So NTR takes the win on that. Arcadeus eliminated. Wow. Alright, let's take another look at the situation we've got here. We're going to have Valabar versus Marduk. We're going to have Pay the Toll versus Tomato. I think Tomato wins that one. And I think Tomato honestly beats whoever comes out of Group A as well. Group C, we've got the Absol Slayer versus Unster Blitch. Hard to say who's going to win that one. Yeah, hard to say who's going to win that whole side of the bracket. Kind of an interesting little wildcard bracket. I think Lukcid beats Whir. As good as Whir is, I like Whir's game style. He's really committed to that Empire box, and he makes it work really well. So, actually, yeah, tomorrow, if I wasn't at Disc, which unfortunately I will be, if I get home from Disc early enough that this match is still on, I might hop on and stream it. Because Lukcid and Whir, that's two very interesting players. Trinhuv and Jagger. I think Trinhuv probably beats Jagger. I think Auto Run wins here. Cuck is still playing against Xeno. I mean, there's a game on. Why wouldn't we watch a game that's currently active? Xeno already out of backup time. Oh no, we're loading into a dead Grenier. We had the chance to see a Grenier, but we blew it. He's gone. Look, there's a little thumbs up, like the Terminator at the end of Terminator 2. All that's left is the thumbs up. Spoilers for a 30-year-old movie. Alright, so we've still got a tank, we've still got a Liana, we've still got an Epsilon. Cherie making a move. IBC down, Watham down, Grenier down. All we've got is this Werner and a Lucretia hanging back here. Are you going to run back to your tank? Or are you going to kill Vance? Okay, Xeno, you've got now an ungolemed Lucretia against in deep against Angel Cherie here. I don't know, Xeno. Well, I don't know what stance you would be in right now. It was attack stance, and he's dead. So that is the end of Xeno. Yep, Cuck is going to be moving on. facing NTR. NTR probably wins that one. I'm not familiar with Tksh gameplay, although he's a newer player from Lushiris Gate. Hakuo, lots of experience. Gonna be tough. Boomer's gonna be playing Kazgao. I think Kazgao probably wins that one. Fei versus Toll's other account. So both Tolls advanced. SCL versus Meow Sensei. That's gonna be an interesting match. Two good players. Straw versus Winston, or Zanson versus Winston. I assume Zanson wins that one tomorrow. Lowly Neat versus Katakuri. Again, two, like, seasoned players there. Zanson will beat either one of them. Maybari versus Cramp. I think that'll be a good match as well. Cramp was another highly rated player. I think he was... well, he was near the top of the leaderboards for much of ladder season. Although Maybari was, like, first place for a lot of the ladder, so that's going to be another game against two pretty strong players. And then Miyoko versus My Time to Sin. So Miyoko, tank pushing past Hale here. Yeah, there's going to be a couple of good games to watch tomorrow. Like, Maybari versus Clock here would be a good one. And... no, where was I? Where was I? Yeah, this is the one I would watch tomorrow. I would watch Whir versus Lukcid. If I'm around, this is the one I'll stream. I'm not sure if I'll be around. I have a disc match. It starts 2 hours before this match, so it really depends on how fast that goes and then how fast I can get home. So don't count on Kong. But this should be a good one. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. So we got to see a lot of interesting play. Kind of bounced back and forth between a few things. I'm going to go back and eat a Twix, some Halloween Twix. Yeah, I bought Halloween candy to hand out, and I'm going to eat it all before Halloween happens. It's like a yearly tradition. How much of the candy actually goes to kids from the neighborhood, and how much of it goes into me? So that's my goal for the rest of the night. Eating Twix, and then probably finishing Endless Voyage. Maybe I'll stream a little bit of that later. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Anyways, thanks for coming out, everyone. Thanks for watching some PvP with me. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy Langrissing, everyone.
カイラとか言ったな。あのようじゃ何者なんだ。